I want to welcome everybody to today's training, providing engaging experiences for parents. A family guide to student success. Are y'all familiar at all with the family guides to student success? Yes. So we're so excited about this training that we're going to offer to districts. But before we get into the training, every piece of professional development that we provide, we begin with our Mississippi Board of Education vision and mission. And so we all know it's to create a world-class educational system that gives students the knowledge and skills to be successful in college and the workforce. So really, our vision is whatever we have to do to help kids be successful, then we need to provide that type of leadership and support so that all students are ready. So we have 6 goals. We want all students to be proficient in showing growth in all assessed areas, and we feel like the Family Guide to Student Success, by supporting our parents, that this supports that goal. We want every student to graduate from high school and be ready for college and career, and we feel like these guides support those kids accomplishing that goal. We want every child to have access to a high-quality early childhood program. We have a pre-K piece that's built in here, so we feel like those pieces support parents, helping those children understand these standards. Every school having effective teachers and leaders. We feel like our guides support that. And every community effectively using a world-class data system to improve student outcomes. And then every school and district is rated C or higher. So by offering parent supports, we know that we can help accomplish our state goal strategic plan. So the agenda for today, we're going to look at the goals of the training. What is the goal? What are the goals of the Train the Trainer? What's in the training toolkit that you will receive today as a trainer? What's going to be in the district toolkit that they're going to receive? And then we're going to look at the family guides for student success, and we're going to look at the goals. We're going to look at how they're organized. We're going to look at district and school and parent guidance that's provided as part of that. And then we're going to look at the activities that we've developed to help support our parents' understanding of how to use the guides. And then the most important piece is that we have to be able to help make those connections for our parents. So it's not just about what's in your toolkit, it's about helping parents understand, I don't have a dice that looks like this. What can I use in place? So really making the connections to the activities to what parents have at home. And then I'll give you an opportunity to ask questions, and then at the end we're going to complete an evaluation. Okay? Always want an evaluation so we know what we can do differently to enhance our supports. So the goals of today, the Train the Trainer training, is really to establish expectations for hosting a parent night workshop. So what are the expectations of the trainer that goes out to support our parents and our districts in this? We want to help develop the knowledge and skills necessary to deliver the training. So what do we need to focus on? What do we need to be sure that we have? What do we need to be sure that we include? And then we're going to be sure we review the training activities and all the resource materials so you're familiar with those. And then the biggest goal is to assist our parents at home with these activities that support the mastery of the English language arts and mathematics standards, because we have a lot of parents that don't understand them, and this will help them reach that goal so that they can help their children at home. So every kit, everybody has a training manual in the kit. So you're going to get a manual. In the manual, there's sign-in sheets. There's a sample agenda for you to follow. There's practical tips for district and schools and parents. There's also tips for hosting a successful parent night. There's sample advertisements for parents that we're going to put them online. They can just click in and fill out where the location of their training is going to be, what time it's going to be. And then the Train the Trainer PowerPoint is provided in here, as well as the Parent Night Workshop PowerPoint. And then evaluations. So each one of you will receive a guide. And so I'm just going to let y'all pass it down so that you can look at it. So the Train the Trainer toolkit has the trainer manual that I just gave you. You also get a set of the family guides to student success. So anybody training on these will get a set of the pre-K through 5 guides. You also will get a set of the pre-K through 5 activity card sets, activity resource cards. Those cards are provided already packaged for you to use. So you will have a pre-K ELA sample. You will get a pre-K math, and I have my math over here for an activity we're going to do. You'll get a first grade ELA, first grade math, second grade ELA, second grade math, all the way up to 5th grade. All of those things are included in your kit. All the materials you need to go out and host a training. You'll have 14 total activities. So, in addition, our districts are going to get a district activity toolkit. And so, here's their toolkit. They won't get 14 activities, but they will receive a K through 5 set of guides. And your trainers, you'll also receive these little activity cards, K through 5, that you can share in your training. Districts will get these pre-K activity cards. They will get a training manual as well. And this is everything they need to host a parent night. Everything. They will get a sample of all the pre-K through 5 activity cards for ELA and for math, so that they can go back and build their kits the way that we built ours, right? But remember, we want them to understand that they don't necessarily have to put the same types of materials in there. We want to make sure that they understand that we want to help parents find things they have at home. So you don't have to go out and buy foam squares. You can use jelly beans. You can use dried beans. Okay? So they'll get a complete set of each one of these activities so they can build a kit as well. And then we've built 4 kits for them already. So they have 4 kits already made. They get a kindergarten ELA sample with the materials they need to carry out the activity. In addition, they will get a 2nd grade math activity with the materials needed. And again, we're going to make the connection to home. So we put index cards in here, but you could use construction paper, you could use the back of a piece of mail, anything you have at home. So we want to help them understand how easy it is to find the materials within their homes to do these things. So they'll also get a 3rd grade math activity, which includes 35 blocks. These blocks can be used for over half of the activities that are included in this kit. So where we're using them for multiplication in this particular activity, we could sort by color, we could put them in groups, which one has the most, which one has the least, and talk about vocabulary, math vocabulary. So again, as a trainer, the most important point for you to make with districts and with parents is, what do you have at home and how many different ways can those things be used to support each of these activities? And then in addition, they will receive a 4th grade ELA activity. So in this ELA activity, they will also get a book, and the books have not come in yet. So what we've done for those that are not receiving a book, we've made a copy, just like these cards that they're receiving, and we are putting those cards in these, and I'll show you. what they look like. I think they're in this one. But they're the story of the three little pigs, and then the true story of the three little pigs. And it's so that they can compare, how are they similar, and then how are they different? How can they talk about the attributes of the different characters? How can they sequence a story? All of those things. So in addition to this, they will receive a book, The True Story of the Three Little Pigs, and they will receive The Three Little Pigs. So all of those things will be included in their district kit. Y'all have any questions thus far? Okay. So we just all need to be cognizant that the goal of the family guides when they were developed was really so that we could outline for parents what students should learn at each grade level. The guides are available K through 8. This particular training is focusing on just K-5. They support the mastery of the standards. They are chock full of activities that support the mastery of those standards. They're broken down in easy to read language so that we can make those connections for parents at home. They set clear and consistent expectations for what students are supposed to know and be able to do at the end of each grade level. They assist the parents with grade level at home strategies, as you can see by the kits that we've built, so that those children can have the support they need to master the ELA and the math standards. And then they support a parent's understanding of the learning process. And I think you'll see in the activity that we chose to model today, how that really, they're written in such a way that it helps support parents' understanding. And then they provide guidance needed to ensure that the kids are becoming college and career ready, and supports parents' active participation in their child's education. This is the Train the Trainer PowerPoint. So this is the PowerPoint that you receive. Districts will have access to this as well if they want to train additional people in their districts. And then the other PowerPoint I talked about, I don't want you to lose sight, is for if I'm just walking in and I'm hosting a parent night. It's developed for parents. So the guides are organized by reading and math. The standards are divided throughout, and the activities are on each page. So let's just take a minute to look at our guides and open it up to the reading section. And you'll see the very first page talks about what your children should be doing in third grade, what they should know and be able to do, what types of activities are included in third grade. And then on the right side, you have a standard. My standard is your child can look back at the text to answer questions to demonstrate understanding of key details in the text. So to some parents, that might not mean anything. So underneath the standard is the language specific that'll help a parent. What does that really mean? I want to be able to ask and answer questions before, during, and after reading. I want to be able to ask questions to clarify meaning. I want my kids to be able to ask the teacher questions to clarify meaning so that they understand text. I want to be able to take notes based on reading with a question in mind. So parents understand what that expectation is. And then a little further to the right, there's the activities, the games that they need to play, they can play at home, and what types of things do they need to have available to accomplish that. My goal says they need a beach ball. Well, if I don't have a beach ball, what might I use? What might you have at home?
Stuffed animal.
I might have a stuffed animal. Another type of ball, a tennis ball. I might wad up a shirt and put a rubber band around it and toss it. So those are the kind of connections we have to help our parents make so that they don't feel like they have to go out and purchase items because they have a house full of things that will help their students master these standards. So here's another one that just lists the standard And you notice there's some resource that has a sample story map. So we made sure in the standards that we selected that they got a copy of the resource. If there was a resource map or if there was a resource page, graph that came with the 14 that we've selected, we've made sure that our districts have access to all of those so that they can go back and use those. So for the pre-K activity about spiders, we have this. In your district toolkit, you have a book about spiders because we're trying to make the connection with literacy. I'd read a book about spiders, and then I would talk about how spiders are different. How, this one's purple, this one's blue. This only has 6 legs. So it might not be a spider at all after I read the book and learn about spiders, right? So we've made sure that we've provided these additional resource cards that we've chosen for the activities. We've provided those to our districts and our trainers. So we've also provided in our Train the Trainer manual, we've given them some district guidance. And you may have seen that guidance. It went out, it's on the intervention webpage, but this is really tips for districts. How should districts be using the family guides for student success? How should schools and how should parents be using those? So this is helping our districts attain that goal. This is helping them support their parents. We've developed activities that they can take back and use. So our school guidance, this is supporting our school guidance. We want our parents to understand how to use the guides, right? If I'm struggling with a particular standard, my teacher can just copy a page out of the book. She can go online to find, these are available online. She can copy just that particular standard the student's struggling with. Now they have these nice little activity cards. They could copy one of those, send it home with the parent, and say this is an activity that your child could practice at home that would support their learning of this particular standard. So we want our parents to know it's so important that there should be a partnership with their school and their teacher. We want our parents to understand that these are some types of things they have at home that can help reinforce the understanding for their child. We want them to know that when they attend parent conferences, there's some things available to help them. When we show them that they are not proficient with this particular standard, we want to be able to support them with these guides and say, here are some activities that you can do to help your child accomplish that. And then parents should be taking advantages of attending these meetings, so we want to make sure that we're providing them opportunities to learn the guides. And then we want them to understand, please contact the school if you have questions, and we want to make sure in our parent meetings that they understand we are here for them. So we really encourage in those practical tips, not for districts just to put the guides in their lobby. We don't want you just to give every parent one, but we also want our parents to understand why we're not just passing them out freely. We want to help you by identifying what are the particular standards that your child needs practice in. So you might not need the whole book, right? You might just need bits and pieces at a time. And then the school shouldn't send them home in the backpack. They shouldn't give them without explaining them because we want to help them understand how to use them effectively. And then just don't hand them out at the guides at the, like a PTA or a PTO meeting. And it's up to us to ensure that message is carried forward so districts really understand the purpose and the use of the guides. So we want to encourage our parents. Some of the standards are hard, and even though we've only developed K through 8, when we got to some of those 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade standards, they're very hard. So we don't want our parents to become frustrated. We want to tell them that's perfectly normal. If you don't understand a standard, that's why it's so important that you partner with the teacher and they help you understand the standards and how to use those to help support your child at home, the resources. We don't want them to miss the opportunity to attend those scheduled conferences, but we also want to encourage our schools to have things available that will support our parents at those conferences. And then don't forget that your child's education is a priority and you really have to make time to support them at school as well. So at this time, I'm going to model a standard, move all my stuff off my table, that I've selected for today's activity. And as part of Train the Trainer, we feel like it's very important to model the activity appropriately, even in the parent training, because that's when you have an opportunity to show all the different ways that you could use the activity. So I've asked Tanette Smith, our Director of Elementary Education and Reading, to come assist me. So she is going to be a student for me. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
Did you have a good day at school?
Yes.
So I was talking to your teacher, and she told me that it might help you at school if we practice some activities. You want to practice some activities with Mama today?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so I got some foam blocks. Don't these look like fun foam blocks?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to divide them into little bitty sets. I think I'm going to do that. Okay? So I want you to count the number of blocks that are in each set. You can start with this one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So that was so good, but let's do it again. And this time, I want you to touch each block as you count it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Very good. Okay, so can you count these for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so we put these in order. Was it easier to count them when they had them in order?
Yes.
Was. It's harder to count them when they're all scattered around, right? So now, how many did you say was in this one?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Good job. Can you do this one?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I like the way you pushed them up. Okay, so now I've put some numbers on my cards. Can you find the number and match it to the set? Like how many was in this set?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so do you have a number that you can match to that?
Do that one.
Okay, so what number is that?
3, 3, 4.
So how many blocks did you have?
1, 2, 3, 4.
So that card has to say what?
4,
4, and it says,
3.
so we don't have a 4, do we?
No.
So we can't match one there. Can you count those?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Now which card matches that?
5.
That's awesome. You want to play another game?
Yes.
Okay. So, get this big dice. Can you roll it? How many dots are on that?
1.
1.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So roll it again. You see 4 on that side? Now how many do you see on the top of your dice?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's awesome. Want to play another game?
Yes.
Okay. So I made some little cards and I put some dots on them. But one of these cards has a different number of dots on
A
it.
lot of dots.
It's a lot of dots. So what do you have to do?
Count them.
We got to count the dots.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Okay.
7.
Very good. You can count. I bet you can count to 10.
Yes.
So I want you to count the number that are on each card. So
Okay.
count the number on this one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Very good. Now count the number on this one.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, so how many dots were on this one?
5.
Okay. How many were on this one?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. How many?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5.
So which one was different? Which one did not have the same amount of dots as the other ones?
The 4.
The 4 did not. Which one of these numbers shows how many dots are on these cards?
5.
Very good.
And 2 plus 3 equals
And
5.
2. You're accelerated. You've moved on to second grade. Okay, so one more activity that we're going to do. So it's more dots and some index cards. Grab these because we're only going to work to 5. I know that you just showed me you can count higher than 5, but we're going to work to 5. So I want you to count the number of dots on this card.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, count the number of dots on this card.
1, 2.
Count the number
1.
on this one.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Very good. Now I want you to count with me to 5.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we're going to try to put our cards in order of which one has the dot that would come first. So which one would come first when we counted? What did we say first? 1.
1.
So then what did we say?
2.
So which card?
3.
Right.
And 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Very good.
And 5.
Very good. So can you take my cards again and match them to the ones that have a set of cards with the same number of dots?
3 dots and 3. And 2 dots and 2. And 5 dots and 5.
Very good. So you know what? I think when you go to school tomorrow, your teacher is going to be super impressed with you.
Yes, I can count to 5.
You can count to 5. So this particular activity, I want you to take note. Everything you need to model this activity is included in the kit. The trainer can select any activity they want to model. I selected this one because it was full of different activities that supported the mastery of the standard. And again, all we needed for this activity were index cards. They don't have to be different colors. A parent could have a piece of white paper, construction paper, any pen they want at home. I use foam blocks, but you could use dried beans, you could use jelly beans, you could use whatever. And most kids have some kind of game at home, and if they don't, I can send home a dice from school that's not that expensive to help, So that's the piece that we want really for parents to understand and schools to understand. The things that go in here that we've developed to support the parents' understanding and mastery of the standards, as well as their child's understanding and mastery of the standards, are very simple things that they could have at home. So I modeled an activity for you. In your trainer toolkit, remember you have 14 activities, pre-K through 5. So you have a sample activity from each of the grade levels. So you would pass out whichever activities that you wanted to have your group do. We encourage you to divide the groups in 3 to 5 people, depending on how many parents are in the group. And then you would just pass out your activity. And so, just going to pass these out for you. Let me see if, let me give you this one. That's a pretty cute one. And again, you could, if you had a large group, I would partner them in no more than 5 per group. And I think we've capped our particular trainings at about 50 that we're going to provide. So for this activity, you locate the selected standard that you've been given that's on your table. Using the Family Guide for Student Success, locate your standard. So you have first grade, so you need the first grade book. And then you have kindergarten, so you need the kindergarten book. You have kindergarten math, so you'll share your book. And then you have pre-K. You've got your pre-K book. So now see if you can find your standard. We want parents to see and districts to see that there wasn't anything magical about the way we did this. This is exactly what's in this activity kit, is exactly what's in the parent guide. Okay, so we just want to give everybody an opportunity to thumb through the guides, because that gives them an opportunity to see all the different types of activities that are included in the toolkit. In the Family Guide for Student Success. So, using the materials that are provided in your little toolkit, so this is your little kit, we want you to work with this activity, and then you're going to model it for your group. So you're going to, just like you were going to be modeling it like I modeled mine, you're going to model for the group how this activity would be used. You've got materials in there. Here's what I really want you to be thinking about. The most important piece we said is make that connection to home. So be thinking, I put these materials in there, but what other materials could we help parents understand that they could use at home, okay? And I want you to notice the simplicity of the kits. There's not a lot of things in the kit. We tried to put things in there that were simple, easy for parents to find at home.
My standard was a first grade math standard where the child will understand the meaning of the equal sign and determine if equations involving addition and subtraction are true or false. So the at-home activity where the parent can use index cards or any piece of paper to cut up and put numbers on the cards, have an equal sign, subtraction sign, minus sign, or an addition for plus. So what you would do, your students, you give them the number, the child, and you have them to count out. Anything can be used as counters. You can use pieces of cereal or candy or Lego. So here we have just paw prints. So we have 6, the child identifies 6, and then they will count how many counters equal to 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're looking at is 6 equal to 6. Is this true or false? They identify that it's true. Okay, then another variation you can do is showing plus. So we can do 4 plus 2 equals to what? They'll count and it'll be 6. Okay, then showing the subtraction, we can do 7 minus 1 equals 6. So they have to identify whether it's true or false. You can have them to actually count out, use the counters. I have 2, 4, 6, 7, and I have 1 here. No, 7, then I take away 1, and they count how many do I have left, and that'll be 6. So that's this activity.
All right, I had a kindergarten ELA standard, which says that your...
Sorry, I wasn't quite ready.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The beginning of your...
I apologize.
That's okay.
You're right. I had a kindergarten ELA standard, which says that your child can recognize and name all uppercase and lowercase letters of the alphabet. So we are wanting the child to identify and be able to match the letters of the alphabet. So the Help at Home says that you would write each letter of the alphabet, capital and lowercase, on index cards, or you can use pieces of paper or something that you have at home that you can write on and cut it up into small squares. And it's like playing memory match, which children like to do. So you would write the upper and lowercase alphabets on different index cards, mix them up, turn them face down, and have your child choose a card, turn it over, and try to find the match or the lowercase match, or if you turn over a lowercase card, the uppercase match. So I've turned over the letter B. Now I'm going to try to find a match. Okay, I turn this card over and it's the lowercase a. I'm looking for the lowercase b. So this is not a match. Have them turn it back over And if you want to play with your child, then you can take turns, and then they can go again until they can find. Let's see. Oh, that's D. And make sure they know the difference between a B and a D and which way the belly goes, as we like to say with the smaller kids. So they turn it over, and we'll try one last time. Yay! I have a match. And then they get to keep their match until the game is completed.
Okay, so my standard is saying if your child can compare two numbers between 1 and 10, which are presented as written numerals. So what you would actually need, besides just counters and maybe a mat or not a mat, you could use M&Ms, cereal, anything. What you're going to do is you're going to make two different groups for your child and have them look at both groups and figure out which group is greater. So it's important to always try to model for your child first to make sure they understand exactly what you're looking for. So what I would do is I would have the counters here, and I would say, okay, I'm going to count these. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 counters. In this group, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This group is greater than this. And then I would have the students actually either write out the numbers, or I would assist them in making note cards on any type of paper that they have with a 6 and a 4, and talk about 6 is greater than 4 and 4 is less than 6.
My standard is with prompting and support, your child can identify similarities and differences in illustrations between two texts on the same topic. It is the pre-K ELA standard. So it says at the help at home is ask how pictures are the same and or different in a text. So if you're comparing a story, you can use two different illustrations from the story. So if you had for example, the Three Little Pigs, and you wanted to tell the difference between the pigs and the wolf, you can compare those two pictures and use those for differences and similarities. Or in this case, it says draw spiders of different sizes, colors, and shapes after reading books about spiders. So we have a card here where you can look at each spider and compare and contrast each one. If it's too overwhelming to have this many pictures on the card, or if it's too many for the child to look at, you can take a sheet of paper or something and cover it up so that you only have 2 pictures for the child to compare. If you're one of those parents who say, well, I can't draw anything, then you can take things in your home, like an apple and an orange, and they can compare and contrast the apple and the orange. Or you can use cereal. It could be their favorite cereal. You might want to compare and contrast Fruit Loops and Cheerios. What's the same about it? What's different about it? So those are some things that you can use at home to compare. Also, those superheroes, the Legos, if they wanted to compare Superman, the Lego version of Superman, and the little miniature, the plastic ones that come in the little box, they can compare those and contrast those to see what's alike about them and what's different.
Thank you each so much for participating in the activity today. Don't you think that will be helpful for parents to see if we model that, if districts model the different ways? And then here's the other thing. It gives them an opportunity to ask questions when they don't understand something. And so we feel like the Family Guides to Student Success not only benefit our students, but they benefit our parents as well. So as a district and school, we think there's some questions that you should consider when you think about the Family Guides for Student Success and how to use them. So how are you going to distribute the guides? We gave some guidance, right? We said don't just drop them in a backpack, and now I think we've demonstrated why it's so important not to just stick them in a backpack for parents. How are you going to train your staff on how to use the guides? So just as we've done just a little mini train the trainer here, how can you go back and work with your staff so that they can support parents? Or how can you host a parent night? How are you going to train your parents on how to use the guides? So how are we going to not just work with the trainers, but how are we going to plan those parent nights? And again, we've given you every single piece that you need to get started planning. We didn't build every activity. We built 4 for you, right? Who's going to support your training efforts? So just as MDE tried to figure out who at this level is going to support the trainers and support the districts, within your district, who are you going to identify? Is it going to be your family resource people? Do you have a parent that's really great, that has, that's involved in the community that can help support it? Can we involve community organizations that already are supporting our kids? Can we invite them to train the trainers so that they can help, work with our parents? And then, if I need additional guides, where am I going to get those guides? Okay, they're available online. Some people have actually gone and ordered and had them made and used different funding streams within the district. So we need to be thinking about, if we're going to need additional guides, where are we going to get those guides? Or are we just going to show parents where to find them online? Or are we just going to print some activity cards and fix up some activities, and our parents can check them out at the Family Resource Center? What's that going to look like? Again, we've given the guidance for districts and schools and parents how to use the guides. That's included in your training manual. We're only focusing for this particular training on K-5. We have 6 through 8 guides. We'll roll that training out separately. And then in closing, the Family Guides to Student Success were a project that MDE, the Office of Elementary Education and Reading, it came out of the Office of Student Intervention Services. We felt so strongly about there being a need to support our parents' understanding of the standards. And we wanted to do it in an easy to understand guide. And we feel like we've done that. We were offered an opportunity through Kellogg, the Kellogg Foundation, to support our efforts to assist families, schools, and communities with acquiring the tools necessary to advance the success of Mississippi's children. So a special thanks goes to Kellogg, because while we developed the guides, the grant that we received from the Kellogg Foundation is enabling us to build the district kits, to have a training manual, to supply our trainers with kits they need to go out and support the districts. They've printed additional guides for the districts. Everything in the district kit was provided through the Kellogg Foundation. The funds were provided. So we just want to say a special thanks to the Kellogg Foundation for their support in our efforts. Contact information, if you need any additional supports or have any questions, there's the Office of Elementary Education, the Office of Professional Development, and the Office of Secondary Education. We provided those numbers for you. In addition, I want you to know, and this is super, super important. So we talked about the materials that we've provided for you in your training kit, everything that you're going to get as a trainer. We've talked about what the districts are going to get in their district toolkit, right? In addition, the letters kits were provided to all the teachers that attended the letters training. So each of the trainers for MDE is going to take a letters kit today with you, because what you find in here are just ways to enhance the activities that you had. Because remember, we just gave you a little sprinkle of what was in the book. But what's the biggest job for us to make for parents? What are we supposed to do for parents? Interactive.
Take and make it hands-on, and that they're able to take some things away as well.
In their own home, and make those connections at home. So we don't want to just say this is the only way to accomplish this. We've given you an activity. Districts have access to these because their teachers have been trained. So when you take this kit with you into a district to provide this training, you can say, your teachers have these, so they could use these packets. Remember, we gave them a set of cards, right? They're gonna get an entire set of our cute little cards with all the activities. Your teachers have these. Let's slide them in, and there's 14 activities. We have magnetic letters. We have words. We have stamps. So where you were over there writing, an extension of yours could be, teachers could do these. We could, what else do we have? Oh, beans. Don't have bears for this activity, but you might have dried beans at home, right? Might have Fruit Loops. Joyce talked about Fruit Loops and Cheerios, comparing those two. They're both round, but they're different colors. I can use these for sorting, I can use them for counting, I can use them for graphing, I can use them for the activity Tanette and I did, matching numbers to amounts. Instead of putting dots on my cards, I could use these, right? So our job is to help the districts and the parents make the connections to the things they have at home, right? So that concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for participating.